All right, this is going to be my final screencast on, citations. So if we're looking at my guidelines here, um, what I did is I used the footnotes, as far as a requirement for this class. So what I did here is using a JSTOR source here is what you see when you bring it up in a PDF, and then footnotes at the bottom of the page, bibliography at the end of the page. And then I wind up copying this section from Monmouth University's site. They have a history program there, or one of the few in New Jersey that do. And apparently they use Chicago style. So the issue here, after having a conversation with the librarian at the high school, she was saying that students are using MLA, and so I'm using this other format here. So I'm going to do a search here. History and MLA. Let's see what comes up. MLA history is used by MLA is used by humanities. Chicago is used by business history and the fine arts. So I mean, I know it's a pain in the butt, but psychology will use a different format. MLA they use for English humanities. And so when you go to the Monmouth website, and again, I picked this one because Monmouth and Rutgers have a program in history, and so when you click their suggestions here for citation, it's exactly what I've covered and made a copy of in my for my guidelines as far as the class expectations for writing. Again, the assumption is your interest is in history. And so that's kind of what you are going to have. And I know I addressed this in a screencast, but I did want to address that point because, you may have, another class last year or next year that uses the MLA. And, I'm asking you to use this particular format, Chicago. And I know that can be a pain in the butt. So maybe it's a pretty good, lesson just to know that different subject matters have different requirements. So the librarian did share this with me here, and I guess this is Purdue OWL. So I'm sure as a freshman you were able to take a look at this and it helped. And they do a pretty good job of converting. You see the MLA, up there, Chicago style, which again is the style that we're using primarily. Let's go to this one. So this is a book, When Abortion Was a Crime. Notice that they have a bibliography section. They've broken down library and archival collections, court cases, and so these are all of the sources that the author has used. Notice how they, separated their sources: articles, books, documents, and interviews. We're using primarily JSTOR and primary source documents, so yours would fit in this category. So at some point we will be using the bibliography. I'm not going to really hold students accountable for that. That'll come in another essay where I will be looking primarily at that. So I just wanted to clarify that particular point. Again, I didn't want to, have a student think, oh, well, we're using MLA and we got this. So again, if we're writing in history, Chicago style seems to be what the subject matter uses. But when you go to JSTOR, we'll do a search here for Hitler. And she did tell me, let's see, we can click here. Now I think it says cite this item. And so there you go. You have the MLA, the APA, and the Chicago. So this is what you should, be using for your references. And, as I said, in the bibliography, this would be, let's go back to my file there, the one that I have. Look at this file here, that's addressing those points. So on this page, it says footnotes at the bottom of the page and bibliography at the end of the paper. So again, for the first essay, we're not too concerned with the bibliography. I do expect to see footnotes. But, for the first essay, it could be as simple as you and your, footnotes to use this section here. So you would just copy that into your, document there. So hopefully this clarifies the issue with the MLA and the footnotes, and you have a couple of resources here. Cite this item for JSTOR, and you can use this site, which was recommended by the librarian.